It is time to talk. Go to Wellington. Is he here? Yes, there he is. And Councillor Tony Randle is joining us for our last before the election. Actually, it's opposite. We should be talking to him today, in actual fact. Letter from Wellington prior to the election on Saturday. Tony, welcome to the show. Love to have you on.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Did you ever say at university when you were a student yourself, because you were at Otago University, you went to that same horrible institution, hit the road fatty to any of your flatmates?
Look, I have to confess, I probably did say something equivalent to that on various times. My goodness me, I was a
I know,
student, for
and
God's
th-
sake,
and that
and
should
life was,
immediately discount you from being an MP. So there you go, or an
oh my
elected
goodness,
official apparently. Listen, you were said a lot
yes.
worse quietly, Tony, amongst your circle, I'm sure. But it's ironic, isn't it, how you can have those things come back and bite you in the bum 25 years later. Is that why there's no such thing as freedom of speech amongst undergraduates these days, do you think?
Look, they talk about the toxic world today. Like I can remember being at university. I was at university at the time of the Springbok tour.
Yes,
My
that's right.
goodness me. I can remember one of our flatmates one of our colleagues who, when there was a protest sitting in the main street of Dunedin, he just weighed in and started picking them up and thumping them physically. I mean, none of this verbal, jousting. I mean, that people got laid into each other, and it was very, very, it was very adversarial. But we're all young and we're all fit, and my goodness, I hopefully we learned some stuff and matured after that. But we were immature as well. Let's face it.
Yes, but I mean, I went to your flat, I think, at some stage. I mean, the idea that you wouldn't leave a flat without insulting somebody was almost considered anti-culture, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, every year you come into these flat with these nice people, and then by the end of the year, at least half of
You're
them
all
you couldn't
abusing each
stand
other.
them
Yeah, that
because
was
they
just part and
wouldn't do their
parcel.
share of cooking or
That's right.
like. And I was
Yeah.
hardly the best flatmate.
Never clean the toilet and always leaves skid marks. And yeah, yeah, you're right. Never do the cleaning.
They're
No,
good
you
times.
always had
They're good
those.
times.
So hit the road, fatty. All right, now it's the last week of the election. I guess campaigning's pretty much over in Wellington, is it? What's the state of the poll there?
It is largely over. Some people are still doing stuff. It's also degenerated quite a bit into a bit of name calling between the left and right factions, which is disappointing. But I think inevitable in a political city like this, and yeah, people are sort of scrapping
Oh, and
around for
what
the
what do you
last.
mean? What sort of name calling you're talking about? In what forums,
Just
Tony?
people accusing other people of being part of the wrong crew. Certainly, there's been an ongoing war, it seems, between the Labour side of things and the Better Wellington Independence Together side of things. Stuff still ricocheting around, who is fit for office uh, and uh, and really calling each other out for um, being toxic. Uh,
Oh,
so
okay.
so I've tried to stay
So if you
above
disagree
that,
with
but you do
somebody,
get caught in stuff.
you're not just the opposition. You're a toxic opposition. Is that the story?
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually not a good way to vote. I like to vote about what our visions are. We should each democracy is about saying, well, I think the future of the city should be like this, and it should be like that, and but in the end, people do play the man, not the ball, and Wellington has sort of gone there.
You've always got that element. I mean, I was in local government and politics for a long time. You've always got people who play the ball. I guess it's just elevated by social media these days, is it?
It is, and it's also quite petty. In the
Mm.
end, I'm not sure
Yes, it
if
is.
getting involved in it helps anyone, other
No,
than expose that you. Yeah,
no, I've
it just
observed that
shows you to
locally.
be small-minded if you hoe into people.
Yeah, no, I mean, it demeans both people who take part, isn't it? So the person who makes the insult, it demeans them, but the person who then responds usually with another insult, it demeans them as well, and you'll go, oh God. So it just demeans the process altogether. Um, I'm interested though, everybody assuming that Andrew Little is going to street home. as the Mayor of Wellington. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't think it is. I think it's a 50-50 call
Oh,
because
really?
I get the sense, yeah, I don't think, I think there's 50% of people are going to vote for the three independent candidates, but depending on how the seconds and thirds go as they drop out, some of them may go across to Andrew Little. Some people may say, I'm going to vote for, let's say, Diane Calvert and then Andrew Little second. Or they may go to Carl Tiffenbacher and Ray Chung. It's all very STV makes it much more of a lottery about who comes through, and that's what happened, for example, when Justin Lester was against Andy Foster, and wasn't a straight race. So it is.
So you're thinking,
The
oh, that's
anger about rates
interesting. So you're
affordability
thinking
is
that,
palpable.
Tiefenbach or Tiefenbacher, is that his name?
Yeah, Carl Tiffenbacher.
That that the right may start to aggregate behind him.
Well, I think that people who want a council just to be a council are angry at the unaffordable rates. And Andrew Little, to be honest, has run a very bland campaign where he's promised to, we're going to have more festivals, we're going to have the living wage, we're going to, all individually very nice things, but you've got to ask people asking, well, where's the money come from? Because I'm looking at a double-digit rates increase and I can't afford it. And the rates affordability issue he actually hasn't addressed. So in absence of that, I think people are a bit lost and a bit put off from voting for him, at least at number one.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if we read all the polls throughout New Zealand, I'm sure you have, Tony, and you've talked about it before. The number one issue for this local government campaign or elections throughout, irrespective of where you are, probably Wanganui would be the exception to it, is the rates and the cost of councils. Is that the case in your neck of the woods too, or not?
No, it is. It really is. And I mean, door knocking middle class neighbourhoods, and a lot of them are basically Labor voters still. We're a left leaning city. But middle class Labor voters are just, while they've tended to support, more social housing, some of these good initiatives, they're looking at their bill and saying we can't afford to do all this anymore. And so the resonance of rates affordability is quite big. I mean, 90% of households raise that with me when I door knock, and that's a lot.
Yes, it's funny actually. It's just apropos of what you're just talking about. I haven't taken too much interest in the Wellington City Council elections, but you've just set me off. And I've just gone to Andrew Little's page for the Mayoralty, and you're absolutely right. Of the he's got 8 major policies there. None of them relate to rates, not one, or the affordability of. That's extraordinary.
And all of them cost money
Yes.
to implement.
Yeah.
So if he, I mean, there's two questions for me. One is, if he gets a majority, let's say, what's he going to cut? Is he going to cut anything, or is he just going to keep going and the baton is just going to hand over from Tory to Andrew? But the more important question is, what if he's facing and having to compromise with a larger number of independents? What's he going to cut? What are of all those things is he going to give up in order to have a middle coalition to guide the city forward in the next 3 years? And he hasn't
And
really answered either of those two questions. Mind you, the
no,
media haven't
and
asked him either, and I think that's a mistake too.
oh well, the media would be sympathetic, I'm sure, to any Liberal left candidate, wouldn't they, in Wellington?
Yes, I think so, and I'm not very. I don't think the media haven't done very good coverage of this campaign. They haven't really focused on any particular issues. They've asked a few banal questions of, for example, they asked the mayoral candidates what they thought of the Maori ward, and the answer to that is, well, mayors aren't going to choose whether there's a Maori ward or not. That's done by a separate referendum. So it's not an important issue for mayoral candidates.
Hmm. But that's the Liberal cause of the time. I see, though,
Yeah.
and his 3 top priorities are quote unquote environment and science, which really has nothing to do with Wellington, rainbow LGBTQIA+, and backing Wellington's festivals and events. You're right, that seems to be conspicuously absent as anything about How are you going to be able to afford the rates that we are going to charge for you to do all these things we want to do? And he's also got one here, cheaper public transport. Does he not realise that you don't run public transport?